when I was in high school, growing up in Washington State, it's raining most of the time. So the opportunities that I had to ride without a raincoat on and without wet hands and a wet saddle was limited. So I had this dream, again, I'm from a small town, so I had this dream of Texas is the place to go. It's cactus and tumbleweeds and cows, and this was my grand idea. I only knew about it, the big world, from what I saw on TV or in magazines, and that's where I wanted to be. So I begged my mom to call a friend who worked in the cutting horse industry in Texas to give me a job. And she said, well, sure, we've got the big futurity coming up, so we can always use extra hands. There's a person leaving from Oregon to drive down to Texas. You can hitch a ride with her. So I said, great. Got in my little car, just fresh out of high school, 17 years old. Driving down to Oregon, I get in the truck with her, and I remember distinctly she called when we basically arrived in Texas to the ranch where she was going to drop me off, and she said, well, we've got Kenda, we don't want to drive all the way in, can you meet us at this town? And they said, sure. Well, it was dark, and I had literally 2 suitcases and my red Wranglers, because it was the 90s. And she dropped me off, and I remember being on the side of the road, and I looked up at this, and it was dark, looking up in the sky, and there's just a million stars, and I started to get that feeling like I'm very alone right now. I'm just a kid, and what have I done, Mom? No cell phone, of course, at the time either. So they picked me up, and I do remember very clearly the trainer that I was working for, he said, are you ready to work? And I said, yes. And we woke up the next morning at 3:30 when all the help's getting up to get horses ready to go for the day. And again, it's still dark, and I'm in this whole new world, having come from my one horse, and now I'm feed those, saddle those, groom those. And now I'm riding 16, 18 horses a day, and my world is turned upside down. And I do remember also them saying to me the words, you got to pay your dues. And I never knew what that meant. I'm like, what is that? Got to pay your dues, got to pay your dues. And I thought, okay, this feels like I'm paying my dues because I'm really tired. But I never said no, ever. I always, I was raised to you do what you're told when you're working for in a job, or you're respecting your parents. You just do what you're told. So I never said no, which is why also maybe I was perhaps taking it a little advantage of, because shortly thereafter then the stall cleaning help somehow disappeared, and now it was me who was taking that job on as well. So now I'm cleaning stalls, grooming, loping, feeding, and these days went from a typical long day to a really long day with 4 hours of sleep a night, and I just kept thinking, well, this is what I want to do, this is what I signed up for, and I know, I wouldn't have it any other way, but I'm so tired. And so after that, I was offered a job in California, Southern California, working on another cutting horse ranch, and moved out there. And I started to now I'm 19, so this is 2 years later, and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, knowing I still love what I'm doing. I'm riding every day, and I'm learning from the best in the business, and the work ethic keeps coming up. I'm like, the work ethic is what will carry you through, no matter what. And then I started to realize that maybe I can't really pay my bills, and this is what I want to do. But is this reality for me? Because I don't have a mentor right here. I don't have somebody that's going to say, you're going to be a star, you're going to be a champion one day, and this is what it's going to take. It was more like, saddle these 25 horses and I'll meet you out there. And there wasn't any real mentorship or forming. So I then got a real job in an office. And I would remember looking out the window and just thinking, I don't belong in here. I don't belong here. I'm like a caged animal. I just want to be outside, and whatever it's going to take, that's what I'm going to do. And it was then that I discovered mounted shooting, which was really wild back in the day.